My name is Sibongile Sambo. I run a company called SRS Aviation. SRS are my initials. Sibongile Rejoice Sambo.
Yes. I like it.
I started the company in 2004. We are based at Lanseria Airport at Hangar 43. Yes, our business primarily offers private jets and helicopters on a charter basis. We move both passengers and cargo worldwide. So it could be a domestic flight, it could be an international flight. So we fly anywhere in the world. We partner with lots of other companies worldwide to be able to deliver the service to our clients. So over the years, we've diversified and looked at the manufacturing of aircraft parts. Hence, I did my MBA in manufacturing.
Oh.
Yes. So I'm from the Twims in Durban.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So the interest now is to focus into manufacturing aircraft parts. Yes.
Cool.
So currently we've partnered with a tier 1 supplier that's based here in South Africa that manufactures aircraft galleys. In a layman's language, is a kitchen.
I was about to ask.
The kitchen in the aircraft. And also the panel that you find behind the pilots that harnesses all those electricals. Yes. So certain parts and components of that we manufacture ourselves in Pretoria.
Sure. What would you do without the Wright brothers? It was the Wright brothers, right? Who
yes. We thank them in the industry.
Really?
Yes. So for me, aerospace has been a passion and an area of interest since I was a little girl. My home is in Bushbuck Ridge, and I went to school in KZN. My mom is originally from KwaZulu-Natal, but our home is in Bushbuck Ridge. That's where our home is. So she took us to school in KZN because back then, the homelands, Bushbuck Ridge was part of, those homelands back then. And there was lots of rioting and all that. So she felt that we could get better education in KZN. So our home is not far from Hoedspruit. So any aeroplane, especially military aeroplanes, flying into Hoedspruit Air Force Base, as they approach for landing or taking off, they fly over Bushbuck Ridge. Yes, so I would get curious about the aeroplanes. With my friends, would stop whatever we're doing, wave eagerly, hoping one day we can get into this big thing that we didn't know what it was, and so when I was at school, at boarding school in KZN, I used to force my mom to book me in a flight once a year. And promising I'll fail if you don't. So that's how I got access to aeroplane here. So I'm an HR practitioner by profession, and when I worked in corporate, I used to get promotions like yearly, because when I apply my mind into doing something, I go for it, and I got bored very quickly. But then I was so fortunate that the BS Consolidated Minds had hunted me for a position in HR to come and roll out e-learning for them. Just at the beginning of e-learning. Yes. And I did that for all their operations. So I would fly in their private jets to Botswana, to Oranienmoond, to all their, to go and, present and roll out the e-learning. So that's when I thought, aviation is only about airlines, like SAA, but there's private jetting. And I used to see my kids when I go to an air show that, that this guys in their suits and white shirts, that comes from those marquees. What are they doing there? Then I realized, no, those are the ones who are operating the private jets market, You know, you could see they are formal. You know, the customers that go in are very serious people. Then that's when I got a cue that, okay, let me start an aviation business. Let me not compete with the airlines. But the gap I've seen is that as I flew around as well, I could see that there were lots of people struggling to move, especially to smaller towns. They've got mines, they've got businesses there. But to fly in a small part to keep a mine going, it takes very long to drive it there. So there's an opportunity to use helicopters or small aeroplanes. And also for Africa, people used to fly to France to go to Francophone, countries. So I saw an opportunity there, and I thought, okay, let me go for this charter business. That's how I started. So then what I did, I started an office whilst I was working full-time at home, collected your computer, the printer, use the back room from work. Then I've got another work there. Did a painstaking research about the aviation business. And what came out was very interesting in a way that I resigned even before I got a first contract. I believe so much in myself, and I believe in so much in the opportunities that I discovered. So, but I submitted a tender with the government, South African government. Prior to that, I would go to Lanseria, try to lobby existing companies to partner with me. They would chase me away. We don't want this BE, we don't understand. It was right at the beginning of the Black economic empowerment. Got some lashes there. So, but then this tender came out, it needed a BE component and it needed technical part. So with the network that I created already visiting in and out of Lanseria, I just took the tender with me to one of them and said, here it is, let's work on it. I have the BE, you have the technical know-how. So that's how we partnered for the first job doing peacekeeping missions for South Africa. It's the fact that I didn't need to buy an aeroplane or a helicopter. Because when you look at aerospace, you'll think, oh, these are very expensive machinery. How am I going to fund this? So that was the one part. The second part, at that time, government was encouraging us to start businesses, and they would support us with funding, with business opportunities and all that. So relying on the promise from government that as a BA company, one can get an opportunity. Then I thought, let me go in full force. And being a guinea pig, in the industry or, a trailblazer, if I could call it that way, I thought it will be easy to get support from government with all the promises,
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess, it goes back to say, if the policy is right, businesses do thrive and all that,
Yes. Let's start with the laws. So, penetrating into the aerospace industry was very difficult, especially in the private jets market. It's a niche market. There's a small group of people and companies operating in that space. So coming in there was a challenge, one, because I came in as a young black woman with no knowledge or experience of the industry, to a point that I had to learn very fast, even the language that is spoken in the industry. One can look at it as a very simple thing to understand, the alphabets in aviation. You can't go to and, give somebody, the alphabets and say ABC. You have to say it Alpha Bravo Charlie. The simple thing like that. And also getting into a boardroom and getting your voice heard. It was difficult because also being female, there's lots of males in the industry, and they would talk above your head, to each other. You make a point, it's ignored, but I had to persevere, put my points across and stick to my guns, and anything that I put forward in a boardroom, for future operations. And also I made sure that I research and I study and I understand the industry very well, and study and understand how government would then support, what I'm trying to do. So for me, it was a high to be able to play a vital role, because at some point government appointed me to sit within the Air Service Licensing Council, so where we licensed all the operators, the airlines who wanted a license to operate in South Africa. Yes, so that was a high for me. The low as well is access to markets. It's been a difficult journey getting access to markets, access to funding. It's a very
entrepreneur's nightmare.
Yes, access to funding. I remember the first aeroplane I brought into South Africa. I needed to bring an IL-76. They call it an Illusion 76. It used to be a military aircraft in Russia, but they commercialized it. It's those humongous aeroplanes that open up at the back.
Oh, yes, I see.
So that's the first aircraft I needed to lease and bring into South Africa for the peacekeeping mission for South Africa. Yes, and I looked for funding, went to, the different banks, went to the, the government funding institutions. But I got negative feedback because I was told you have no experience in aerospace, you have no collateral, so it was difficult. Then I called my mom, who had just retired in South Africa but went over to England to work as a nurse. Yes, I tried to resign for a long time because I've always been this breadwinner. She wouldn't, So I didn't tell her, that I left corporate in October 2004. So December, my first opportunity came. I had to call her, Mom, here's an opportunity. I left work in October already. I need money to get this aeroplane. So she flew in, took a day off, flew in, came to get her pension money out. Asked her sister to also borrow me her pension money, and I flew back to England, and that's the money I used to lease that first Illusion into South Africa. It took days before it arrived. We were panicking with my siblings at the airport waiting for this aeroplane. We didn't know how it looked like. All we know that it was on the specifications that we need an IL-76. And this person who assisted us kept on saying, no, it's the biggest aircraft. Any aircraft that will land here at Sambo, the biggest one, even bigger than SAA, that's yours. So 3 days down the line, when the client was already promising to cancel the contract, because we paid this, almost R1 million, and the plane was not arriving. And this side, the clients are saying, we're running a military operation, so we've got these supplies that must go to our people. So we'll cancel, but on that particular day, the aircraft arrived, and that's how we started. So that was a high, for us. It was high. So there are many high and lows throughout. Even today, we still, passing or facing a lot of turbulences, crossing, rivers, and jumping up the mountains just to get things done. Yes, it's not easy, but it's possible. Yes, I think the first thing is to partner with other women globally, especially if you operate in an environment that is a global by nature. Aerospace is global by nature. And being a pioneer in South Africa, I needed to become a member of a Women International conference that happens in the US, be able to network and learn from other people who've been doing this, for a number of years or even decades, so that I can come back and apply it here. And also that assisted me that when I have challenges, I have a group that is backing me than going out there as an individual or silo, So partnerships, I think, is one of the things that I can encourage, and also be open-minded as well. Sometimes we have ideas of doing things in a certain way, but, the environment suggests differently. We need to be agile, should be able to be flexible you know, to be able to reach your goals. And also, as you rise as a woman, try to uplift others with you, because that is the support structure that you're creating for yourself, so that as you rise, there are other people that are there to support you. Yes. So currently, the biggest contract that we're running, we manage the entire government fleet, including, you know, the number 1 aircraft. Yes. So anywhere they fly to, we organize jet fuel for the plane. We organize ground handling services for the aeroplane, and also we book accommodation for the crew. So on a daily basis, we get orders, whether the aircraft is flying to the DRC or they're flying to London or anywhere. I have a team, so I've got trip advisors that focuses, say, on a particular division within our customer operations, whether it's helicopters, you know, whether they're moving cargo, or, you know, it's VVIP where they are moving passengers. So on a daily basis, that's what I do. I manage the trip advisors and also make sure that strategically we're able to comply also, you know, when they fly overseas, there are bilateral agreements and all that. So in our operations, we make sure that we comply with the aviation regulations. I make sure that if there are bilateral trade agreements, we leverage on that as well in the operations that we do. So our days are different because others we're managing helicopters, others is fixed wing. You know, sometimes it's a big event, you know, like the AAD. Then we requested to also manage foreign aircrafts coming into our country. So we're able to assist them with cleaning of aircrafts, you know, providing catering for the aircraft, you know, making sure it's fueled. So for us, it's very busy and very interesting. Yes, that is the biggest challenge that we have currently. You know, we wish that the client could stick to the 30-day agreement, but you know that never happens. So through strategic partnerships, so we have agreements with lots of you know, big fuel companies. We've got, you know, accounts that we use. But obviously, once we reach a certain stage, we need to also be paying. It's a cash flow, so we need to pay to keep our accounts going. So we've got a number of contracts and agreements that we have to be able to manage the contract. But other than that, also when we make money, we reinvest the money into the business. So we use that money, you know, to keep the business afloat. Yes, there are times when they fly a lot and the money is not coming in as much as we want. So also a relationship with your banker assists a lot, because if you have your books in order and they see the cash flows in your account, also it's easier to be able to lend money, open your overdraft, use the credit cards and all that. So that's how we managing the cash flows in the business. Yes, my interest is in manufacturing. We don't have a lot of manufacturing activities happening in Africa, but we do have those few companies that have managed to be in the manufacturing space for almost 2 decades now. Yes, so we are learning and leaning, you know, with them and supporting them. But the ideal is that in the future we're able to get our own contracts directly from Boeing, Airbus, or any, you know, aircraft manufacturing company, and manufacture not only the parts and components, but get into a space where we can assemble, you know, a big component or part of an aeroplane and export. So if you look at how the big AMOs, which is the aircraft manufacturing organizations, do, they know in the past they used to manufacture the whole aircraft from one facility. If it's Boeing in the US, if it's Airbus in Europe and France. But now what they do, they go out on tender. Hence, they're able to manufacture a lot of aircraft fast. So each parts, different components, they go all over the world. Yes. Okay. So they send their request for proposals, all over the world. And if you can do only manufacture wings, then you submit your proposal, you manufacture. Also, the wing has got lots of parts and components. A certain part, whether you're doing the aircraft structures of it, or you're doing composite material for them, or you do the electricals, or you're doing the fuselage, for your jet fuel and all that. So that helps and open opportunities to more companies to be part of the manufacturing sector. So I would like to assemble, big parts and components for big AMOs. Yes, so what we can do, you can contact SRS Aviation. We've got our website there. So you can send your email directly to me, to sambo@srsaviation.co.za. And you can contact us as well through our social media pages on LinkedIn. We're available on Instagram, on Facebook. So you can either look for me directly, Sibongile Rejoice Sambo, on the social media, or you can look for the company SRS Aviation. We do work with a number of NGOs all over the world. There are opportunities for scholarships, for bursaries, for just internships as well. So we can connect everybody that is interested in the industry through the NGOs or even through companies that have those opportunities worldwide. Thank you so much. I'll just end with my philosophy. I know who I am and I know who I'm not. I can never forget where I come from, but I know where I'm going. To reach for my goals and conquer the challenges, I will always dare to be different, and with proper guidance and direction, and with God on my side, nothing is impossible. I am indeed a future leader.